How has your 2020 been?
2020, I was kind of like in, I don't know, gangsta mode. I was just like, we need to grow some food like right now. And I've kind of relaxed since then. I will probably restart that garden again someday.
All I did was try to improve my sourdough game, but I wasn't quite that Mad Max about it. But
Yeah, I did a lot. I did a whole lot. I got 2 certifications. It's like anything that I was putting off. It was just like we're getting it all done now.
What'd you get certified in?
I got certified in nonprofit financial management at Cornell with their online program.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually really intense. So I was proud of myself on that one. Just really kind of pushed myself just to squeeze in whatever it is that I could do, to make up for all of it, or maybe to distract me from it.
I was distracted in this conversation thinking we were still in 2020.
We're sliding on into 2022 now.
Yeah.
I mean, the year has been pretty much how it's been for everyone. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he said he'd just seen a TED Talk, and it was about what we're all experiencing collectively. And there was a word that was given. It was languishing. So I don't want to be a downer. but I think we could all say that we're either just kind of coasting.
That's the saving grace, I think, that you feel alone, but you also know that everyone is going through something. Like everybody has had something on their mind.
I mean,
in
I
the
really
whole world.
hate to say that misery loves company, right? But that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. The whole world is miserable.
We're languishing. We're not miserable.
You're languishing. That's it. Yeah, it's like by the pool or something. Yeah. Hello and welcome to Friends with Deficits. I'm your host, Adam Sultan, and my next friend is Carolyn. Carolyn's been losing a couple things, not just what year it is, that's my issue. And she's here to talk about it. So without any further ado, actually, there is one further ado. You can help support this show by making a contribution at Patreon, patreon.com/friendswithdeficits. You can donate any amount, one time or monthly, and help ensure that we are able to record, produce, have guests, and provide you with the information and entertainment that no other podcast in the entire universe has ever even attempted. What's a podcast? Who even heard of such a thing? In any case, this one can use your help. Patreon.com/friendswithdeficits. So you don't lose track of what a generous and awesome person you are. And I thank you. And now, without any further ado, here's Carolyn. So you want to talk about your topic for this podcast?
Yeah. So I came across your little ad on Facebook. It resonated, and I wanted to take the opportunity because most people don't know that I'm going through it. Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, really, this lockdown, this pandemic situation has kind of made me get away with it. No one knows that I'm experiencing it. And I guess you asked, what is it? And that is, it had been alopecia areata. Alopecia areata is an autoimmune disorder where your hair falls out in clumps. So they usually start out probably dime size and grow to about $half size. So that was what had been for me alopecia areata, and I'd been experiencing that since 2009.
How did that first come about Do you just notice one day, like,
Yeah,
missing
I just
hair?
noticed one day that I had basically circles of missing hair on my head. And then it progressed. I guess my body was attacking itself because it wasn't only the hair loss. I actually had a walnut sized lump on my neck, like underneath my right ear. So whatever was happening, it was kind of happening all at once. I also had and still have what's called a blanket of numbness. So I don't have surface skin surface sensation on the surface of my skin,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like having superpowers. Like you could like stick a pin in me and I won't feel it till you're.
Anywhere or in certain parts of your body?
It's really most parts of my body. So
I've heard about this like years ago, like people who were, had no skin sensitivity, like they could put their hand over fire and watch
yeah,
it
I
burn,
wouldn't
kind of.
say that it's that extreme, but it's really funny because I actually did burn myself. I think it's been like 3 weeks now with boiling water. And that just kind of was like down my hand, down my arm. And are we allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yes.
I was like, God, I fucked my shit up.
That's exactly what I would have said. Yes.
Like, this is not good. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, it's funny because I'm almost taking in the feeling of this as alarm. I wasn't actually feeling the pain. Like they say that burns are like the worst thing in terms of pain levels or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say that I ever got to that point. I was just feeling that I did something really, really bad, and I just had to figure out how to mitigate it, like just get in there and make it better. And I was pouring cold Ozarka bottles on there, and it looked pretty gross for a little bit. I it was definitely a proper second-degree burn.
And did you
And
feel any of it?
I did, but it wasn't like real pain. It was almost like an oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like my brain was just like, oh shit, like this is not good. This is not good. And I just made sure that I really treated it well. I had it wrapped in saran wrap and Aquaphor, and believe it or not, aloe works really well. Like I know everybody says aloe, but like I went out there and I got a plant and I put it on. It was just like, this is working. So,
Wow.
but anyway, getting back to the original topic. So it was all like in 2009. It's just like my body went haywire and like everything was just kind of happening all at once. And when my hair fell out, then really the worst of it then was pretty much like my hairline was taken back like an inch. So if you can imagine, like if I wore like a thick headband, you basically couldn't even tell. But back then I didn't know that it would grow back. So it started to grow back and I felt much better. What I'm experiencing this year is obviously way different than that. So alopecia areata is one type rather of alopecia. And that's when you experience the bald spots on the scalp only. Then that can make its way into alopecia totalis, which means the whole head goes. And then the third type is called alopecia universalis. And that's where, all of your body hair goes. So when my right eyebrow fell off, I kind of like realized I was heading into a different territory. The diagnosis was basically changing.
Did it just come off all at once, just your right eyebrow, or?
It was pretty much, I guess, the same type of situation where it was coming off probably in a circle, but because there's only kind of, a straight line of hair there, I couldn't tell that it was circular.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really towards the innermost point that it started. And then the left eyebrow started to really, really thin out significantly. But I think what is happening at the same time is that I'm getting regrowth, but the regrowth is not occurring as quickly, and it's coming in white. And I read up on that, and that's just a thing that happens. It's white first, and then the pigmentation comes later.
Wow. It's usually the opposite. What happened with the rest of your hair on your head? Is it just in spots?
What I believe is it is still rotating. So imagine if you've segregated your scalp into half dollar size sectors, and then it kind of like randomly hits a sector.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it was like 2010, 2011, I'd have sometimes in a bad place, I'm like I said, where the hairline had all gone, like I might have it like at the very top of my head, and I might have 3 of them that kind of merge into like a little Mickey Mouse shape. It's just, that's how it was. It was more random. But now I've gotten to the point where I would say back in October, it had started over my right ear. And then it just looked like I was, sporting a cool like side shave or whatever.
It came in fashionably. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was like what I was doing was just kind of cleaning it up because there were circles and they weren't like, forming like straight lines. So I would just like clean it up with a razor. And I was like, look, I'm cool. Like I was a teenager again. And then it happened on the left side, so that I had this cool faux hawk. And then it was like, so I was cleaning up both sides. And then it's like I was really, really kind of chasing it at that point. So this was all through October, November, December, January of last year, was just me kind of chasing the bald patches to turn them into something that resembled like an intentional hairstyle. So that went on, I think it was until it was either March 1st or May 1st, I can't recall, where I kind of just ran out of options, in terms of it looking like a hairstyle. I shaved it in the back for a little bit, so it was kind of like, I had like Ernie and Bert's hair for a little bit. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm grabbing the bull by the horns and I'm just going to shave what's left. And it was really when the top started to thin out, because you can't really have a look where, it looked like like a horseshoe, on the top of my head. It was just, this is not a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm doing it. And I did it.
Shaved it all off?
I shaved it all off. I shaved off what was left. And it felt good. It felt good to take control. It felt good, to have some say in it. And I don't have a bad looking head. So, it's like, okay.
Yeah, you sent me a photo. It looked good.
I could do this. It's like, I could pull this off, That was before my eyebrow fell off. But I was like, for a little while, I was like, I'm a badass. And then I was like, no, wait. No. But then I looked online and like there's this company called Amazon. They sell really cool shit. So
Amazon? That's interesting.
I was like, tell me, great Oracle, like what is the best product for reapplying an eyebrow? And I found a product and check this out. It's a marker for your face. So it's like, I bought this product and I just happen to be an artist. And I painted that bitch right back on. Like from like 10 feet away, 20 feet away, you can hardly tell. So, and that's basically what I've been doing is just reapplying. What's really weird is that a lot of people, I guess, do make that choice to shave their eyebrows and then kind of stencil them back on or something, or like, tattoo them back on or whatever the heck they're doing. But, for me, it was like, I'm just used to my face having a very kind of like natural eyebrow look. So I'm doing my best.
What about your hair? Are you shaving your head now?
I'm
or is it
still
all
shaving my
gone,
head,
or-
and it's kind of like rotating still out and rotating back in, but sporadically with like kind of just kind of these white hairs. And I was also like having some weird mishaps where like, I don't know if the follicles were damaged or something, but it was like really coarse, bristly growth coming in that I just kind of yanked out because I was just like, what the fresh hell is this? Like, I don't need this in my life. And just kind of yanked it out, took some photos, shared with friends.
Right.
It's been weird, but I'm rolling with it.
But when you go out, do you, like, as far as the top of your head, are you going free or wearing a hat or wigs or anything like that?
That's interesting. So when all of this happened, like right when I think it was even right before I shaved my head, I dropped like $1,500 at the wiggery. It's like, get thee to the wiggery. Like I went to the best place according to Google, and like I bought hair that looked like my own hair, naturally when it was, at its peak. And the guy even said, this is like 18-year-old hair. It's like, I can't need to sell it to me that way. But I got like a real proper wig. And I can't remember, which is probably good, whether I bought it before or after I shaved. I really don't remember. And I did wear it a few times, but I quickly found out that it's not something that I could wear during the summer. Like it's just too hot to have like a sweaty head underneath that, wasn't really working for me. And there was no real way to actually get it on to my head, like have it stick to my head. It was easier when I had some hair. Oh, so that is an indicator. So it was before I shaved my head.
Okay.
Because I was actually clipping it into what hair was there. But what I wear generally is if I'm, working out, if I'm in workout clothes, if I'm, going for a walk at the park or whatever, or playing tennis, I'll wear a baseball cap. And that's been fine. And I'm not one to normally wear baseball caps. It sounds like it's just, a basic thing or whatever, but I'm not that girl that normally would wear baseball caps. So I've been doing that. And then if I dress up, I wear nothing. I own it. And I've done that a few times now, where I'm bald and that's the way I am. And,
have you shocked any friends who didn't know this was going on with you?
yeah, I mean, most didn't know that I was going through it at all. And I really had to warn them in advance. I saw a friend. We went to the movies a couple of months ago, and I just wrote to her beforehand, like, I'm okay. You're going to see me. I'm this way. I have no hair. This is why. And I'm fine. And it really depends on who I'm talking to as to whether or not they buy it, believe it or not. And I could say that my close friends definitely have been fine with it. They're just kind of like, okay, 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 and it's really only my inner circle that has known like this whole time. And that is like a small handful of people. When lockdown was lifted is when I started visiting with other friends who I had not seen in, months that whole time. And I had to give them that warning. There are acquaintances who either bumped into me or found out tangentially who I guess didn't or wouldn't accept face value that I was telling, the truth. I know that's very odd. But like, are you sure she doesn't have cancer? It's like, no, she doesn't have cancer. Then why is her hair? It's like, it's like she has an autoimmune issue. And then I had another person, it was a friend's mother, who expressed concern because they thought that I was going through a midlife crisis and was shaving my head for attention or whatever it was. I had an instance of bumping into a friend of a friend of a friend, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And she asked one of my closest friends if she needed to pray for me. And then if you take it back, I guess, a little further, I have strangers coming up to me, fully believing that I have cancer, and they're so nice to me. I kind of wish like everyone would treat people the way that I'm being treated, I guess, by the general public who believe that I'm in a compromised state. And that's been awkward, but interesting. I don't challenge them. I don't tell them, especially when they're being vocal about it. Like there was one guy who came up to me while I was having lunch at Papado's, and he was just like, I just want to tell you that you and your bald head are beautiful. And then I said, thank you so much. And then he went on to say, my friend is going through it right now. And it's like he's talking about a friend who has cancer. And I have to just stay in that moment with them like, I'm so sorry, and not kind of like take away the goodwill, because they are coming to me with kindness. So that's been really interesting. It's almost like I have an opportunity to experience that perspective that I wouldn't otherwise have with actually going through this. It's a little weird, I think, also for whoever's with me, because they're kind of just like gobsmacked, like they just like, why are they presuming, and it's just what people are more familiar with. And so they kind of, they have tunnel vision there, but again, there's no maliciousness there. They're just, they soften up more than I could have ever imagined before actually witnessing it on my own.
Have you run into anyone with alopecia?
I don't think so. I did recall that I knew someone who had it, a man, back in New York City, maybe 15 years ago. But I didn't know him well. He was just kind of on the trading floor there. I think it is either rare or doesn't happen to this extent, or People cover it up, pretty well.
Yeah.
People wear wigs all the time now, for fun. So,
Right.
as fashion statements or whatever. And we'll see what I do in the fall. I might do something. We'll see.
What causes this?
So it is just the body going haywire and treating the hair as a foreign body, and it's just attacking what it's perceiving as an attacker. So it's basically my body in overdrive.
Is it related to stress or genetics?
I wondered this. I mean, it's like I could come up with, theories or whatever around what has triggered this. I mean, obviously, 2020, 2021 have been super stressful, like ridiculously stressful. And, and could I admit to internalizing that, like literally, like, yeah, were things stressful in 2009? Yeah, they were stressful in 2009. So, it's possible. What I want to say, though, if I'm really kind of like, speaking logically, it could be allergen related. So I moved here from New York City in 2007, and, it could just be that cedar really, really, really bugs me. Just like sneeze my hair out. Oh, and I did forget to mention that in 2009, I was given prednisone to treat it. Because I told you I went to a ton of different doctors. And when they gave me the prednisone, it came right back. I don't want to take prednisone. Like, it's just not something you want to play with. So I don't. But it did grow back.
Okay.
It's that lump on my neck went down and my hair did grow back. But it's like, you know how prednisone works. It's like they put you on it and then they have to immediately start tapering because it causes like strange things like euphoria, and you could really get hooked on it easily. And I don't want to mess with anything like that. So
did you experience any side effects from it?
I'm not aware of any side effects, but there are really crappy side effects. It's like something called moon face that people get sometimes from prednisone, where it pretty much looks like it changes the structure of your face. I mean, it's not, I don't need any more problems. It's like I don't have to add on to this. It's like,
when you took it and then you finished your dose and then it came back, how long did that last before you started losing hair again?
It was probably something that happened annually or once every 2 years. It was bad like some years and it was okay like some others. It wasn't like I could tell. There wasn't any discernible pattern, really. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel that right before this last time that it was actually going really well. Like I hadn't experienced it for probably like 2 years, 3 years. And then it was like I made up for it immediately.
So after all that time, did you feel you still had no desire to take another dose of prednisone?
No, I'm not a pill popper. I'm not, and I know that there are side effects that I don't want.
Right.
And it's like I can handle. Also, I have a nice head. So, it's like,
that's good.
It was like, I can deal with this. It's not the end of the world. There are some days where I'm really, really, really kind of like, I'm done. Like, I'm just like, I don't want this anymore. And I hate it. And this is fucking ridiculous. And I cannot believe, and I'm shaking my fist at 2021 again. But that is like, just like having a bad day. It's not generally how I feel. I could say that that most of the time what I'm feeling is kind of just a disconnect where I'm like, this is not me, because it is not a choice that I've made. Mm-hmm. And I also think, that some people, even if they're not presuming the worst, like cancer or whatever, or even autoimmune, like they have no clue. They just think that it's a, a style choice, that that I'm kind of edgy, and I don't consider myself to be edgy. And it is not a choice that I would make stylistically. Like, I think I'd rather be lovely, So I am trying to get to the point where if this becomes either semi-permanent or permanent, that I can get to a place where it is a style choice that I'm owning, and that I don't have to feel like, I'm beyond a Thunderdome. It's just.
Are you familiar with it enough? Like when you wake up in the morning or look in a mirror, you're okay with it. It's like having a haircut that no one's seen, but you've had for a while.
That, yes. What I'm not used to is reflection in the glass, walking by a storefront or whatever, or seeing my shadow cast on the sidewalk. That is very unfamiliar to me because, I've been around me a long time. There's just this sense of, yes, that is me, and no, this is not me. And I have found myself getting tripped up a little in that, but it is a momentary thing. It is not like, consuming my thoughts in any way.
At this point, do you feel like doing anything about it, or has doctors prescribed anything other than prednisone or suggested anything?
Well, it's funny because you ask me that question, and I understand that you mean medically, right? But I'm like, how about like some cool tattoos, or
Well, that too, yeah.
Like I'm gonna totally rock this for Halloween. I'm like, show me everything. Like, my daughter's like, Megamind, do Megamind. And I'm like, no, I'm not. She's like, she'll send me another picture of Megamind. I'm like, no. But I like pulled out a handful of really cool, like bald, badass sci-fi women. It was just like, okay, well, what am I doing? And then one of the ideas was Asajj Ventress from Clone Wars. I don't know if you do the Star Wars thing. This witch who wields the Force, or it's like this could be really fucking cool. Like, I could pull this off. Like, so, I was thinking about doing that, and then it was like, wait a minute. Like, I knew somebody. I don't know if you know what the 501st is. It's like this Star Wars cosplay group. It's a national thing, but they have like a Central Texas group. So I was like, I know the guy that used to run it. And like, I just messaged him and I was like, do you know, like, if anybody would be able to help me come up with a real authentic Asajj Ventress costume? And he knew the person. So hooked up with her, and we're going to see if I can get like costumed. This is something like I would make, so I would have help from like someone who could like 3D print and stuff. But it's like, it's the type of thing where it's like, if you get it right, you can actually become certified, and like you could do things like march in a parade.
Certified as what?
As the Asajj Ventress in costume, the way it is in the show, in the series. Like Lucasfilm kind of approved. Like, they let you go to like Disney World and do that kind of stuff, like as in character.
Are you into cosplay and that kind of thing?
I love dressing up like for Halloween and stuff. So that would be, I'd get my kicks that way. But, as far as like ever doing anything official like that, I've never done that. But it would be fucking cool, wouldn't it? So, and, they go to like, they visit like children's hospitals and stuff like that in character, or go to conventions, whatever they do. So it was just something that I was exploring. It was just like, what, if you're going to do it, like do it all the way.
Yeah.
So does that answer your question?
I think so. It sounds like you're more on the side of living with it and working with it than you are, trying to find a way back.
I mean, it's more than that. It's like an opportunity. I mean, who gets to do this?
Yeah. I guess that semi-answers my next question, which I ask all my guests, which is, what is the benefit of what you're going through?
I mean, for me, it's just knowing that I went through it. I mean, God, if I could explain to you, I know it sounds like exploitation. Like it's like, but like people come up to me and they're so nice. And I don't even realize that I'm speaking in a way that's actually sounding like I'm dying, but because I'm realizing like only after that I'm just talking about COVID and I'm talking about 2021. But they're like, then it's like after I'm like, oh shit. Like, what I say? Like, what did I say? Oh shit. Like I didn't mean it that way. Like everybody's talking to me. Like they're just so nice in Texas. They're like coming up to me. Like I'm leaving Costco and a woman's checking out my plants. She's like, I should have been a landscaper. And I'm like, you still can. But that's really how I do talk, but I could see how it could be taken. She's like, I will. Like, and I know it sounds terrible. It sounds like, like what's the health equivalent of like cultural appropriation?
Well, but also you have a health issue and it's just not the same, but it has looks the same.
Yeah. I mean, it is, I guess, a quasi health issue. I'm not sick.
Right.
And, frankly, the other kind of stuff is like, I mean, I call it my superpowers. It's like not feeling pain is like a cool thing. And it's not that I don't feel pain. Like if you pinch me really, really hard, I'll feel a pain.
For what it's worth, if you, if you just told me you had cancer, you probably wouldn't have made the cut. So,
Charming.
Let's tell me more about the blanket of numbness. Is there a name for that? You said anything official?
I don't think that there's anything. Well, there is. It's like neuropathy or something like that. But I couldn't, I'd have to Google it like right now. And I don't know how common any of this is. It's like I haven't really dug too deeply on what to do to right it because it's just kind of like, and this is how it is. And I just, I kind of live with it. Again, I went to so many different doctors back in 2009, 2010. And I don't really want to do that. I'm fine. I can live with this. I'm fine.
You said they both happened around the same time?
It was all at the same time.
Do you know anyone else in your family?
Mm-mm.
No?
Nope.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I know. What a surprise. I'm the odd man out there. I really don't know of anyone with any of it.
Have there been any like other accidents with this blanket of numbness?
No, and that really wasn't due to that. There were some cases where, people have to watch out because they might be hurting themselves accidentally and not know it. Like I knew I was hurting myself. Like I knew it was happening. I could see it. It was right in front of me. But I've never had an instance where it was just like, ooh, I just backed into like a butcher knife. It's not like anything like that.
That's good. Nobody likes to back into a butcher knife. You probably already told me this, and I apologize. How did you first notice that affliction?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I kind of have always had nerve issues, pinched nerve issues. This is just going back, to like when I was like 20. I was like, that was like a really weird situation because this is actually pretty funny. My general practitioner just happened to know the head of neurology, like over at this major hospital in New York City. And so I booked an appointment with him. And boy, they checked me up and down. I went through this like vigorous kind of like nerve testing thing. These were doctors before the doctor. And then I got to see the doctor. And he basically like put his hand on my shoulder and I buckled in pain. It was like the Vulcan like neck pinch thing. Like
Wow.
It was just like I just like was in a crumpled heap. Like this guy wielded such power with knowing like where all the like, the touch points were for nerves. And then he was able to diagnose me like immediately with whatever it was. And I can't even recall. We finished like our chit chat and he's like, I just have one question for you. He's like, how do you know my name? Like, it was like, I had like the head of neurology. And it was just, it was like, it's like, I know a guy.
What about like good sensitivity, like feeling something soft or getting in a jacuzzi or something, like, do you feel that stuff, or is it all kind of?
I mean, I feel stuff. It's getting a little personal here. But it really is more of, it's funny because what I'm doing right now is I'm running my fingers over my skin to see like what it would take for me to really feel something, because it really does feel like, I mean, have you ever had like frostbite or anything like that where you just kind of, it's sort of like that.
Is it tingle at all, or it's just numb?
It's almost like I'm touching something else or something. It's like I'm looking at it. It's like I know I'm touching me, but now I'm touching my ankles. Why are you making me do this?
Can you describe what you're touching? Just kidding. But if somebody else like puts their hand on you gently,
you never know what this body part is called.
Describe it. If so, I'm still trying to get clear. If someone's just like resting a hand on you really lightly, would you feel it? You just wouldn't feel like it if they pinched you or something, or?
No, it's not that. It's really more like a pain thing, and it is numb. Like I'm pressing right now, like on like the bone of my wrist, like just below it. And it's like, it really is pretty much nothing. And I'm grabbing that pencil. I knew I had that pencil for a reason. But yeah, it's like I'm pushing that pencil in. And it's like it has to really, really, I have to really push in there before I start feeling something. And I'm pretty certain that it's not skin, it's the bone underneath.
Wow.
That is sensing something.
I'm surprised you don't get more bruises or cuts or something without knowing it.
I get bruises.
Okay.
I bleed. I'm like, God damn it. It's like, there's blood like running down my arm or whatever. Or somebody's like, Carolyn, you're bleeding, that kind of thing. It's like, God. But I haven't had any like major cuts or anything like that. So that is, I guess, a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if something was bad, and it was going a few layers deep, I'd probably feel it. Again, this is really just surface. I did go to a neurologist here. He's like in Round Rock, and he was zapping me all over with electricity. And that I felt, that I did not like at all. Not into that. And really it just showed that there was nothing wrong, is like basically how it registered with him. There was nothing to be done. But as far as whether it was like a light switch, I don't know. I don't know if it was like, something that did progress. I don't know if it was just on off. I'm hoping, though, that it doesn't progress. So that's kind of a worry in the back of my mind. I don't want anything that resembles like MS or anything where I lose, connectivity with the nerves in my body, because obviously they're important and they do things. But I haven't sensed that anywhere. And I think I would be more aware of, and I don't really want to accidentally manifest that. So we're not going to talk about it. No, I don't think about it, and it's not, catastrophize or anything. So I don't think about it really.
Has this numbness ever been cause for you to think differently when you're out amongst people in your daily life?
I think as a New Yorker, I'm kind of like that anyway. So it's not like, I keep my distance from people now with COVID. Forget it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't even have to think about it. But as far as like, what kind of a person I am, I'm not someone who really wants to be up against someone anyway. So is that your question?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a huggy person.
Like you described, seeing yourself in a window reflection or a shadow. Is there anything like that with this numbness?
Like, making sure that the shower water isn't too hot, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm a little skittish about.
How do you make sure?
Oh, with my hands, my hands are fine. It's a blanket. It's like over me kind of thing.
Ah.
I know it's weird, but my hands, my palms are fine. My fingertips. It's not that they're fine because I do feel like there's something, but I do feel more. I'm sorry. I'm rubbing my fingers together like a crazy person. Most of the time, I don't think about any of this until I saw your advertisement. And I was like, I really want to just get it all into this 45-minute talk here. Normally, I don't focus on it. Normally, it's not on my mind.
Is there anything else you want to share or talk about?
No, I think we've covered it all. Have you ever met someone with this?
I have not. I've seen. I mean, it's just saying I see bald people. It's like I know people, or I know women who are always bald who aren't obviously going through cancer, but I don't know. I've never asked. I have no idea. Just figured it was a fashion thing. No, I haven't, and definitely not with the numbness.
So you would be on the side of believing that it is a person's decision that has been executed flawlessly.
I don't know. It's a question of believing. It's just, they tell me, I certainly believe it. But if I don't know, then I don't know.
Do you think you would question it?
If I just saw somebody with no hair,
Like a friend, not.
Oh, if it was a friend that I might ask what's up.
Like, hey, no hair. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably exactly how I'd say it. Hey, no hair. Yeah. I wouldn't suddenly be like, oh, I'm praying for you. I wouldn't.
Well, my answer to my friend when she mentioned that to me was, yeah, she could pray for me if she wants.
Why not? Everyone needs some prayer.
I'm not going to turn down a prayer. It's 2021.
In that case, I'm praying for you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
But I won't get the candle too close because it could burn you.
It won't matter because I have superpowers.
Exactly.
All right. I'd like to thank my guest, Carolyn, for sharing her stories. And I'd like to thank you for listening. If you want to stay involved, please subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, or check out friendswithdefицitspodcast.com. Sign up for our newsletter, catch up on past episodes. And if you want to hear what else is going on, including outtakes, what I'm doing, and also support the show, check out patreon.com/friendswithdeficits. You can keep the show alive and thriving, get a little behind the scenes action, and keep me from feeling numb inside. Patreon.com/friendswithdeficits. Thanks for listening. I'm Adam Sultan. Try not to lose it.